Chapter 1 is called The Power of Thought. This is where Napoleon introduces the concept that thoughts have power, and with intention behind them, you're able to transform them into something much more powerful. Read a little summary here and I'm going to read it together. The first chapter introduces the core philosophy of the book. Thoughts are things. Hill emphasizes that success begins with a definite purpose and a burning desire to achieve it. He illustrates this concept with the story of Edwin C. Barnes, a man who was determined to work with Thomas Edison. Although Barnes started with no money or connections, his unwavering desire and persistence eventually led him to become Edison's business partner. So what Edwin C. Barnes does is he jumps on a train in the back cargo area. So he gets in the train, he's covered in coal, and ends up going to where Thomas Edison lives, and he goes up to their office and says, I'm going to go into business with Thomas Edison. With this complete unwavering desire that he has, he begins as just a humble, low-level employee, and eventually he works his way up into a much more powerful position within the business. And eventually Thomas makes a device, and everyone has their doubts about it, and no one believes in it. Eventually, Edwin C. Barnes is convinced within himself that he can sell the device for Thomas Edison, and ends up going on to becoming one of the best salesmen for him. And eventually Thomas Edison sees this and starts to work with him even closer, and eventually they become so close that they become partners in the business. And it's a pretty powerful story of what happens when you push yourself to achieve something. For myself, I have my own story. So I trained for parkour as a teenager up into adulthood, and I eventually became a professional in the industry. I was naive, and I was powered by the conviction that what I was doing was going to achieve success. I was actually born in a little country town with about 2,000 people, and my prospects for life and my future was to get into the trades, get into a government position, or work at a retail place. And retail places out there is a grocery store, a DVD store, or a post office, or a pub, maybe even a hotel. So for me, there wasn't much outlook on life. Eventually my parents moved me to another city that had about 200,000 people, and there I began to find a community, and I integrated into this passion that I developed while I lived out in the country. It literally began with me jumping on a few blocks, playing around, and just being a kid and being adventurous. When I moved to this city, I saw that there was actually people training and people competing, and then this development of what I was doing was beginning, but I had no framework or foundation. So I was acting out the stuff in this book without even realizing it. I'll quickly show you something. So I had quite humble beginnings, and eventually I was able to grow myself into this. That's in Brisbane, that's in Sydney. That is a gigantic running. That's a hectic descent I did in Sydney. That's in Townsville. That's Brisbane. That is on an island. That's at the gym that sponsored me. And this man behind the camera right now is Dominic Tomasio, probably one of the best in Australia and an absolute freak in the industry. I didn't know that I'd end up in that situation, but I knew I had a desire to train. And for me, this is where I built my mindset and my motivation without even realizing it. I just enjoyed the sport so much that I wanted to pursue it. And to go on a little further here, Hill stresses that success is not the result of luck or education alone, but a clear, focused thought backed by definite purpose, faith, and persistence. The chapter sets the tone for the rest of the book by encouraging readers to believe in their ability to turn desires into reality through the power of thought. And for a lot of you, that's quite a hard concept to grasp, because we go to school and we learn these skills, and then we leave school and we kind of feel like we're lost in life. For me, I was always pushing for this career that I was falling behind in my schoolwork, and I just wanted to go out and train because I had a group of friends, and I saw people that were actually becoming successful from this. So an example of one of my first successes was, while I was training, we got invited to do essentially a nighttime show with a dance academy in that town that I lived in. And part of the show was to do tricks, flips, run through the crowd. We were dressed in this glow-in-the-dark clothing. So the the thread in the linen was actually UV light. Yeah, so we'd charge ourselves with these UV lights, and then we'd spook and scare the crowd by doing flips and stunts over them. It was pretty interesting, I'll be honest with you, because it taught me that behind the scenes of all these stunts and things you see online, that you spend months training and preparing yourself just for a small moment of success. At the time I didn't realize it because I was doing all this work and I really just wanted to go out there and have some fun, throw some flips and then entertain some people. But it was teaching me this skill of preparation and using my thoughts to prepare a routine and set some goals that were easily achievable. So that's my quick little summary of the first chapter of Think and Grow Rich. If you'd like this book, it is available below. You can click the link and it'll send you to my website where you can download it and read along with me. I've also provided a link for the free PDF online because I feel like everyone should have this book. It changed my mind monumentally. My mindset changed forever because of this, and I didn't notice it at first. I noticed it as I began to use the terminology in the book, and afterwards I actually spent some time away from it and I began to lose this essence that this book teaches me, and it'll teach you as well.